congratulations to all of you. And you should be clapping much louder. I mean, really. Big moment coming up for all of you. So my job is to kind of help you get ready for the dissertation defense, okay? So all I want to do is talk to you about a few things. And one is that your sense of being and who you are should be changing a little bit. You're no longer a student. You've successfully defended your proposals, you've collected your data, and now you're getting ready to join a collective group of colleagues that have the title doctor, okay? And so when you go in for this final dissertation defense, you should feel like you're having a conversation with your colleagues. You're not going in to be interrogated. You know, they're not going to blister you up or anything like that. But you should be going in there to have an academic dialogue with your colleagues. And so walk in there with the confidence and the passion in which you've done your work over the last 3 years. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so with that, again, you're going to go into your defense and you're going to get positive feedback and you're going to get constructive feedback on your draft. Okay? And so take notes when you go in there. All right? So preparing for your defense, you already know Yeti, but you need to go by, visit with her, pick up the proper documents and things like that. Make sure that you're enrolled in the proper course if you need to be enrolled in a course. And mostly pick up those forms. There's a couple of things you need to do with your dissertation draft as you prepare for your dissertation defense. One, the whole purpose of your study is to answer your research questions. So make sure that somewhere in the summary of your findings in Chapter 5, you articulate that you have answered your research questions. Okay? So that's one of the things you want to do. Make sure that all the tables, figures, appendices, and that are all included. Make sure that you completed all the revisions to Chapters 1, 2, and 3 before you go in for your defense. And check it for grammatical and other APA-type minor errors, okay? If you need an editor, just get one. There's, I really did want to check to make sure all the APA stuff was absolutely 100% correct. So I hired an editor to do that. It just doesn't hurt to have just a different set of eyes look at it. You look at it so many times, it just all looks the same. So it doesn't hurt to get a fresh pair of eyes on your draft. Make sure that you've addressed your implications and your recommendations for your study appropriately. Any recommendations for practice should be linked to a finding in your study, and any recommendations for research should be connected to something you learned from doing your study. And make sure that your findings are linked to Chapter 2, that they're grounded in the literature. Those are the main observations for your final defense as far as your Chapters 4 and 5 as you go in. First things first is you don't want to go into dissertation defense without your chair telling you or advising you to go forward with your defense. That's dissertation suicide, right? You could do otherwise. So make sure that it's very clear to you that they've given you permission to go forward as you schedule your defense. You need to reserve a room. You need to get with Margaret. You need to coordinate any parking for any outside members you might have. So plan all this stuff in advance. So as you think about when you're going to be defending, kind of backwards plan from there. Give all the hard-working individuals in here in the EdD program time to give you the great support that they want to do, that they can, get the room scheduled, take care of the parking process in a timely manner, not, 30 minutes before you want to defend, right? Oh, there's a guy coming. I need a parking space, kind of thing. So give them plenty of advance notice. You have about 8 to 12 slides that you're going to prepare for your dissertation defense. During your proposal defense, you focused on the proposal, Chapters 1, 2, and 3. Your dissertation defense, you're going to focus on your results, the findings and the implications for practice, and recommendations for research. So you're not going to spend as much time or very little time talking about 1, 2, and 3. You're going to spend the bulk of your time having a discussion about what you learned from doing your study. We have a format for that. You shoot me an email, and I can send you the template for those slides. As in the proposal, you're going to have about 10 to 15 minutes to do your presentation. más o menos, right? Okay, so, practice it, and it should flow, and you should, have it down pretty tight when you go in. After the dissertation, let's talk about what's going to happen, what that process is going to look like. It's going to be much like your proposal defense. You're going to get there, and once everybody is present, then they're going to ask you kindly to leave. And it's not because you've done anything wrong or that you're a failure. Okay? But this is the first time, again, that the committee's had a chance to come together and talk as a group. So they want to just quickly answer any questions that they might have amongst the group before they invite you back in to do your presentation. Okay? So they're going to ask you to leave, you're going to come back in, you're going to sit down, and they're going to ask you to proceed with your presentation. Okay? For your presentation, all you need is your PowerPoint, and I recommend printing one slide per page for your committee members, because if they're like me, they're in their 50s or more, and you start getting visually challenged with small print. So one slide per page makes it very easy for them to read, follow, and write notes, okay? So one slide per page. You're going to give your presentation. They may ask questions along the way. Most importantly, have a pen and paper handy so that if they ask you a question or they have an observation, you can write it down. Be sure and write the person's name down who's speaking, right? So either your chair, you can use their first name, an initial or something, but write down the name of the person who's making the observation and write down the observation. And there's nothing wrong with repeating it back to them to make sure that you were clear in what they said, or just asking them to say that again. Oh, can you say that again? So that you can write it down. Okay, and this becomes important because at the end of the defense, and they sign all the paperwork and everything, you have to try to remember all the stuff they've asked you to do, and you're so excited that you generally forget. They don't. So you're going to want to write those notes down so that you can then send an email back to them later saying, here were the 3 or 4 things that you had to say, and list it by person, or combine them together if they're similar, that kind of thing. Please review this. If there's anything that's missing, please let me know. And then, very timely, in the next couple of days, you want to complete those changes. So anyway, take good notes. Know who says what. After you finish your presentation, they may have a couple more questions for you. Again, you're having an academic discussion. You should be relaxed. You should be very confident about what you're talking about. And then they're going to ask you to leave again. It is at this time when you will be sweating bullets of water, okay? Because that's when they decide if they're going to sign your paperwork and you haven't completed the dissertation journey on that particular day. 99.9% of the time, you're not asked to go to a defense if you're not prepared. Okay, so they should come in, sign the paperwork, you should come back and they'll say congratulations, doctor, and welcome you into that realm. Okay? Again, make sure you have the forms, because most of the time they don't have them. They're expecting you to be there with those forms. So have those forms. It doesn't hurt to have an extra copy of that sign sheet if they sign it in the wrong place. Right? So have those forms with you. If they don't use the other form or whatever, you can always bring it back. But always have the forms with you when you go in there. After the defense, again, take some time, go out and celebrate, have some champagne or whatever it is that you like, right? And enjoy the night, take a breath. Then the next day, come back to those notes, compile those notes, send them back to your chair and committee members saying, here are the 3 or 4 observations that you have. Please let me know if I've missed anything. And then immediately do those revisions. Do not postpone. Do not procrastinate. Don't think I'll get to it next week. Go ahead and plan for the next couple of days to be the days that you're going to revise and make any revisions so that there is nothing that gets in your way, right? So that you don't delay it. I'm going to do it the following weekend, because the following weekend, inevitably, something's going to come up and you're going to still want to celebrate, right? And then you put it off another week because you're still celebrating, right? You go to graduation because you're still celebrating, right? And you still haven't completed your revisions and uploaded, right? Then you're thinking, I got till 1 July, right? And you're still celebrating. I'm going to go enjoy the summer. Hell, I worked hard for 3 years, right? Don't let it happen, right? So go ahead, in 10 days or less, get those revisions done, knock them out, and be done with it. That way, when you do walk on graduation day, you're like, I am done. Okay? If you need an editor, and you haven't scheduled for one now, it's a good time to start doing that because they're going to be getting busy. Okay? A lot of people trying to graduate, 176. Right? So if you need an editor, make sure you coordinate for that in advance. Make sure you send a thank you note to your committee after your dissertation defense. Okay, a nice little thank you card. Doesn't have to be, gold laced or anything like that, but just a nice little hand-signed card that says thank you. Right? Back in the day, traditionally you would print and have a bounded copy of your dissertation that you would give to all your committee members. Most people just send a PDF now, the final version, but you may want to get one for your chair. If somebody asks for one, go to Kinko's and get it bound. They got nice little binders there that you can get done, but you don't really have to do the $100 thing anymore. And again, it's because we're more technologically proficient, and chairs run out of bookshelf space for all the hundreds of dissertations now that they have, and they're more conscientious, conservative. So don't feel like you have to get them all printed. You should have a printed copy with you when you go into your defense of your dissertation. Have it tabbed by chapter, especially where your results and your findings are articulated. And that's pretty much it. This is it. This is the last run to the finish line. I'm available to review drafts of chapters 4 and 5 up to graduation, after graduation, and through the summer. So if you would like me to look at your stuff, please plan a review date in advance because we're very, very busy this time of year. And your PowerPoints, I can look at those very quickly. So you can send those to me. If you want to practice them in advance, you can make an appointment to come in and practice your PowerPoint. And I'd be happy to assist you with that. Do any of you have any questions regarding preparing for your dissertation defense? All right, well, fight on.